Hey guys, Turner Roland from Waypoint TV here at the Waypoint TV booth at iCAST, sitting here with Emily and Amanda Gale. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're
Absolutely.
glad to be here.
You guys are busy, bouncing around to all these tournaments. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Sport Fishing Championship?
Definitely. So we're part of the Sport Fishing Championship, which is a series of 11 tournaments, and for the first time in history, there are blue marlin tournaments that are airing live on CBS Sports. So it's a really awesome thing to be a part of, a company to be a part of, a group of people, and we get to be the on-site hosts. So what we get to do is go to each of these locations and experience the location from more of a first-hand perspective.
Yeah, and I'll also add to that the tournaments themselves, they're aired digitally, but they're also aired on CBS Sports. So, you know, they're really trying to take blue marlin fishing and show it as a sport.
Gotcha.
You know, just like football or basketball. Like, this is a sport. It's intense. It's a competition, and it's been really fun. We've been able to travel a lot for it. Our next tournament is Puerto Rico for them, which will be the championship tournament.
Where are they aired digitally?
They're aired at sportfishingchampionship.com. They're aired on YouTube and Facebook.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Where have you guys traveled so far? You know, I know you're going to Puerto Rico next. Where's been, you know, kind of your favorite destination?
Okay, so favorite destination and where we've been, I feel like two different questions. We've been to quite a few places: Destin, Orange Beach, Cape May, New Jersey. I would say a favorite place so far has been Cape May, New Jersey, and not necessarily for the location, but I'd say for the people. We got to hang out and met a marine biologist there, and she took us clamming, she took us osprey banding,
Wow.
and we kind of
You
just...
got to band us, like you got to
Yes,
capture
we
them
didn't.
and-
She was the professional.
Yeah, so osprey banding is federally regulated. So we were able to supervise and watch and be a part of it. We were able to climb the ladder, look in the nest. I was able to pull the debris out of the nest, but we weren't actually able to physically band the osprey.
What kind of debris was in it? Like trash?
This time it was specifically like dock lines.
Really?
So, yeah, and it's super important to get those out of the nest because their claws can get stuck in them. Because it's a nest, they're babies. Their claws can get stuck in them, and then they get stuck and they can't fly out.
Oh, because they have the barbed claws. Is that right?
Do they?
That's a great question. I know it was a concern for, her name was Hannah, the marine biologist, and something cool that she was telling us was that the parent birds are very particular about their nest, and she'll go to one nest and it'll be full of maybe hats, but then the next nest will be flip-flops. So
Really?
they actually have preferences on what is in their nest. Of course, wild, maybe trash and non-trash related items, but it was actually kind of a cool sight to see. She does take the trash out, unless, of course, the trash is so part of the nest that it could ruin the nest.
Huh. Now, with flip-flops and things like that, that's a big concern. You got to take that out
Yeah,
immediately.
definitely.
Huh. Interesting. So you guys went to New Jersey. Was the fishing? I don't know anything about New Jersey. How was the fishing up there?
This particular tournament, it was early in the season for the blue marlin and the white marlin. So it was mostly yellowfins being caught, and the
Okay.
fishing was actually very, very slow. Actually, in the entire 3-day tournament, not a single marlin was caught.
Oh, no.
So all it would have taken was one marlin to win that division, but like most tournaments, it rolls over into, you know, the other division, so it ended up being the tuna was the big fish division to be part of.
Right, and so usually with these tournaments, a lot of what we do is, if you watched it, is we talk a lot about the marlin fishing and where they're being caught, how they're catching them. But this time, since it was mostly yellowfin tuna, which, you know, this was a couple weeks ago. So, you know, the marlin aren't around yet, and for this tournament specifically, that's why we were able to go clamming. And we were able to go osprey banding because the marlin just weren't around. And we also were able to go visit the Coast Guard Training Center in Cape May and actually got to do some training with them. So it was
Very
really cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now, besides New Jersey, I know that was kind of an exception. You guys have, they take an interesting approach to the commentary, right? You guys just aren't stationary. You're in a boat traveling around.
Yeah. So for these tournaments, what they're doing is there's a studio team in Arkansas. So the studio team is, you know, your traditional behind the desk, explaining about the tournaments, what's going on, what's being caught, having catch alerts. And then for us, we're the on-site team. So we actually do have a desk on site at the marina, or in Destin it was on the beach. or wherever the desk should be. It's been on, I think we've done the desk on like docks and marinas and the beaches. So we do have a desk, but we have 8 boats with cameramen on the boats. So they have the cameramen, and because a lot of these tournaments they're fishing 100 miles offshore, they might catch a marlin, and then we have a chase boat that runs out and grabs the footage of the marlin, runs and brings it back, and then we air it. So it's pretty much as close to live as possible. So our segments, when we're talking behind the desk, it's live, the studio team is live, and then the marlin catches and stuff might have happened that morning or very recently.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And going down to Puerto Rico will be the championship. And is it kind of like a point system to where there's a cutoff and, you know, the largest amount of points from the entire series will win, and this is just kind of the last tournament?
Basically, so there's an Atlantic and a Gulf division.
Okay.
So because there's a whole series of golf tournaments in Atlantic, and then there's one champion. So between the two divisions, so Puerto Rico is kind of like the neutral territory. You know, it's kind of a equal run depending on where you are at from the Gulf or the Atlantic to just kind of get to Puerto Rico. Because most of the Atlantic tournaments we've had are up in the Northeast, and they go there, and basically the top boats have a chance to be the winner. So is it going to be from the Gulf division or the Atlantic division? We don't really know yet.
Very cool. Now, besides the Sport Fishing Championship, what other types of fishing have you guys been up to? What's good right now?
Lately, we've been getting a lot into the inshore fishing. So,
nice.
yeah, we're big offshore fishermen. We love offshore, but recently we've been just kind of taking advantage of the inshore. We have an 18-foot Hughes, and we've enjoyed.
I saw that. That's a very nice boat.
So we got our 18-foot Hughes.
We just decked it out in marine mat, so it looks brand new.
Yeah, it looks brand new. It's a 2001, but it's like pretty new to us. When we got it, the motor had less than 500 hours on it. So we're really excited about it, and we've been kind of putting it on a trailer and taking it everywhere from Flamingo to just freshwater lakes, and just kind of makes you more mobile and able to kind of take it with you wherever you're going to be.
What have you guys been targeting inshore?
Snook. I would say mostly snook, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Mostly snook right now. We have been taking it down to the Keys. We're actually going to the Keys for a week in August with that boat. So
awesome.
Hopefully at that time we can get into the bonefish.
Bonefishing's been good in the Keys.
We're hoping to. We haven't really had a chance to do much bone fishing on that boat yet. So, you know, we've been traveling all summer, so we're finally going to get to the Keys and do some fishing on it. But right now it's been a lot of snook. What else has it been? Pretty much all snook, actually, and trout. We've done a little bit of trout fishing.
Mostly like kind of in the Everglades area?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
But have you guys been focusing on the mangroves or mostly the flats? Or?
I would say a little bit of everything. So the inshore fishing for us is kind of, it's not what we grew up doing. Not that we really grew up fishing to begin with, but our bread and butter is the offshore fishing, and that's where I really know how to, I guess, find anything. Find all fish. So the inshore is kind of new to us. So we're doing everything you can think of: mangroves, flats, chumming flats, you know, casting into the mangroves, using the trolling motor to go around islands, just whatever the conditions allow for that day.
So going from offshore to inshore, what was the most surprising thing to you guys, to where it was either the most difficult thing or maybe something that you thought was difficult was a lot easier than it seemed?
I feel like it's a lot easier to get your day going. There's a lot less equipment involved. So it's mentally a lot easier to get that foot out the door and get on the water. The challenging part would be having no fishing spots. You're literally starting from ground zero.
I would agree with that too. And so we do have plenty of reef fishing spots for the snappers on the reef, which is kind of close to offshore. But then for us, for offshore fishing, you run out and you have to look for the fish every day. The mahi don't sit in the same spot. The tuna don't sit in the same spot. Whereas with inshore fishing, it's a little bit more like we know there's a hole here, or we know there's a really good flat there. So that's been new to us. It's kind of really just learning the geography of the ocean out back. You know, offshore, it's different. You know, we're looking at different charts, and we're looking at the structure of underwater, and I guess it is the same application, but when you've just been doing it offshore for so long, and then now we got to do it inshore, it's kind of new.
You guys mostly doing live bait, or?
Yeah, we've been doing live bait. We've been doing a lot of shrimp fishing and pilchards, and I mean everything eats shrimp, so it's almost not a good thing. But yeah, pilchards too.
Yeah, have you guys been seeing a lot of sharks? inshore? I've heard reports of there have been, more sharks than ever in the inshore keys. You guys have seen
I would probably agree with that. I would say that in the keys in general, sharks are abundant. They are everywhere, and we know lobster mini season is right around the corner. So anybody that's lobstering, just it's today.
Today's Thursday.
Starts today.
It starts today.
It started yesterday.
I thought it starts next week.
It started yesterday. Or the last. It's the last Wednesday, Thursday of the month. So whichever that is. Well, anyways, yeah, I would definitely say there's definitely a lot of sharks. Even offshore, there's a lot of sharks. So definitely don't want to get sharked. You don't want your fish to get lost. But I would agree that we have been seeing a lot of sharks, especially as soon as you start chumming the flats. I mean, even with just shrimp, like little shrimp, and plenty of nurse sharks come around. Those guys are kind of harmless, but
Life brings more life, right?
Yeah.
When the fish start to come around, so do the sharks.
exactly.
What are you guys doing with your YouTube channel and stuff? I know you guys have had a large focus on education, a lot of boating education. Has that shifted as you've been learning inshore?
I would say it hasn't necessarily shifted. We still focus on the educational side of things for our channel. If anything, we've just added more snippets of the inshore side. And a lot of what we do on our YouTube channel is educational and teaching. But with the inshore side, we don't consider ourselves experts, so I'm not going to go out there and teach something that I'm not an expert at. So it's kind of been a nice change of pace to be really kind of upfront with our viewers and to have them come with us and just be like, guys, we're not really sure what we're doing today, but we're going to figure it out together.
I would even say that we specifically went snook fishing in Flamingo, and it was our first time snook fishing down there, so we weren't even sure where to look for them. We still filmed a whole episode doing it. We're like, we're going to find out what we find. And the cool part about that, though, is our viewers can kind of learn with us. And if one thing works, we'll be like, hey, guys, today this worked, and today this didn't work. Or whatever, today the live shrimp worked, or today the artificials worked. So it's kind of, I think, probably a unique thing that our viewers can experience with us as we continue to learn more about the inshore fishery.
Yeah, and you guys have been doing some freshwater stuff too. Like, I think I saw you up in Okeechobee. Is that right?
We actually, well, yes, we have fished Okeechobee, but what is that, yesterday already? Yesterday we fished Epcot. So
really,
yes, you can.
I've heard that's fantastic.
It was really awesome. You can fish in Disney. You can fish the Magic Kingdom Lake, the Epcot Lake, the Disney Springs Lake, and there's a fourth one. There is a fourth one. But we have fished the Magic Kingdom Lake quite a few times. We kind of make it a tradition every year that we come to iCAST, we stop and fish in Disney. And we've been wanting to fish Epcot for a while, and we just haven't. They have less boats available for fishing Epcot, so you kind of have to book it far out. And we were finally able to accomplish it and fish Epcot. So first we went to the showcase and fished basically around the world. We got to fish in front of Mexico, Italy, England. We went everywhere, and then we ended the day by that lake attaches to Hollywood Studios. So then we ended the day fishing in front of the Tower of Terror.
No
It's
way.
a really cool experience to do that.
Big bass.
Yeah, there's big ones in there. We caught, specifically yesterday, I would say only one of them was like a really nice one. The rest of them were average, but they have some nice ones in there.
I was just going to say what you just said, was that we caught like a 4 or 5 pounder, and our guide was like, man, we only caught little ones today. Like, that's how big the bass are in the Disney lakes. So you catch a 4 or 5 pounder, we're like, great day. And he was like, oh man. I was like, wow, okay.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
My fiance Malin is a huge Disney girl, and I've been saying when we do a Disney trip, I'm going to go fishing on Epcot or wherever, because Chasten Whitfield, she won a Disney trip there, and she was sending my dad photos of these huge bass, and ever since then I'm like, I have to do that.
Yeah, I would say it's like one of Disney's like secrets. Not a lot of people know that you can fish in Disney, so it's I didn't even know how we found out about it to begin with. The two of us, maybe we were just doing some internet research, and we were like, oh my gosh, you can fish Disney. Booked a trip, and then coincidentally, the guides there actually already knew us.
Nice.
So now we have a great relationship with them. Whenever we want to go, we're like, hey, we want to come fish Disney. They're like, of course. So, but you can do it online too. It's like Disney experiences or something, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like
you
that.
can find it probably pretty easily on a Google search. Well, that's awesome. What's coming up for you guys after the Sport Fishing Championship? Do you guys have any plans, or are you kind of taking as it goes?
I mean, I would say August, after the Sport Fishing Championship, we have Puerto Rico. We have one more Pulley Ridge trip for the year.
Okay.
So we go out 4 days, 3 nights at sea, fish for mutton snappers, tunas. It's basically a camping trip, 100 miles offshore. It is not glamorous at all, but if you like fishing, it's a great trip to go on. And then for travel for us, after that, it kind of slows down a little bit. The summer's been so crazy. So at that point, we'll probably start doing a lot more fishing on our boat, actually just spending time, just the 2 of us, and almost, I want to say, like, just catching up on fishing the 2 of us, because as we're doing a lot of this travel, especially with the Sport Fishing Championship, we're behind a desk a lot, so we actually haven't had much time to fish.
Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to getting a chance to just fish on our boat, the 2 of us,
Yeah, I would say we're definitely looking forward to, if anything, just slowing down ever so slightly. It's been a really hectic summer. I think we haven't been home for more than 5 days at a time, and then we'll come home, unpack suitcases, do laundry, and then have maybe 2 days, and then have to repack the same suitcase and be back at an airport on the road. So it's been a really, really busy summer. So I think we're kind of looking forward to August, September, when things start to die down. Maybe do some leisurely travel instead of work-related travel, something like that.
No, you guys have been traveling a lot, but one of the things that I enjoy most about y'all's channel is that you go places and you show the fishing, but you also show the other things to do, which is great for families that can look and say, well, the dad and the brother and the sister might want to go fishing, but then the mom and the grandmother and the other brother, you might want to stay and do some more activities. And that's one of the things that I think makes you guys so popular and awesome, is you show everything about the destinations you go to.
Yeah, we're glad that you enjoy that, because that's definitely something we make an effort to do. We actually just went to Costa Rica last month, and we had 2 full days of fishing planned, but our second day of fishing got rained out. I mean, just like torrential downpour rained out. I mean, it was insane weather that day, and we ended up getting a chance to do a jungle hike and visit a chocolate farm. So what's awesome about it is we do have a full fishing episode from that Costa Rica trip, which starts next week. It airs next week on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and all the platforms, Waypoint TV. And then from there, we visited a chocolate farm with a local that owned this farm. It was actually one of my favorite experiences. And then we did a jungle hike where we saw squirrel monkeys.
Wow.
Howler monkeys, a lot of different species.
Yeah, so it's definitely fun for us to make an effort to not only just show the fishing, because there's so much more other than fishing, and sometimes the fishing is slow, or sometimes you might get rained out or the weather doesn't allow you to do it, but there are so many other things to experience that are outside and in nature that can be a great thing to enjoy.
Yeah, and fishing takes you to some really amazing places, and you can kind of experience some culture when you go. You're talking to the local guides, you're kind of experiencing the language if it's more abroad, but there's also a big chance to experience the culture. And I always like, when I go to a place to go fishing, I always like to have a day to go around to the markets, try the food there, and I think that's something you guys do a great job of.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I would definitely say that fishing might be the reason why you go somewhere, but it's not necessarily what the whole trip is about. And like you said, getting to try the local food or be around the locals is kind of what makes the whole experience. It makes the fishing better, getting to experience things outside of it.
Yeah, what would you probably say is the top 3 places that you guys have been abroad fishing or just traveling that you would recommend for someone?
Do you have an answer on the top of your head?
I do have an answer, but it's not abroad, actually. One of my favorite fishing trips we've ever been on, we went to Washington.
Really?
And what was the river?
Olympic Peninsula.
We fished the Olympic Peninsula over there for salmon, and hands down one of the best fishing trips we've ever been on. I still think about it to this day. And on my bucket list after that trip now is especially to go to Alaska. We have not been there yet. So I wouldn't say, from South Florida to Washington, it might as well be an abroad trip because with the amount of travel it takes to get there for us, it felt like an abroad trip. But that was definitely one of my favorite trips. Other than that, I would say Costa Rica is always a great place. The sail fishing's great. We were able to go rooster fishing, catch yellowfin tunas. So if you're into the offshore fishing side, Costa Rica's always fantastic.
Did you catch rooster fish offshore?
Well, no, but we did catch rooster fish in Costa Rica. So what we did was an interesting day. The plan was to do an inshore fishing day and catch rooster fish, and I think we caught 10.
Wow.
No, well, okay, it was like She's like 4. No, I think the episode airs 4, but we caught way more than 4 because at one point it was like, wow, like.
That's a good hack.
Yeah.
You know, you can catch 4 and be like, well, we showed 4, we caught way more though.
Yeah, no, but we really did, and it was like in under 2 hours. It was like the
Wow.
bite was nonstop. At some point, we just didn't even pick up the camera because it was just another reserve fish.
Yeah.
And that same day, though, we were between fishing spots, literally inshore, looking for fish off the beach, and the captain saw porpoises and tunas busting just slightly offshore, and we went and caught yellowfin tunas in the same day. So it was an inshore fishing day. We caught the roosterfish inshore, but we saw the yellowfin tunas and went and caught yellowfins as well.
Nice.
I would say that was a great trip too.
As you travel around, you know, what's been the biggest thing that you've taken away from these places? Has it been a fishing method? Has it been, you know, just the overall appreciation of different cultures and foods and ways of fishing? Or, you know, what's kind of been the thing that you've taken home from all your experiences abroad?
I would definitely say it's the people that kind of make the trip. A great example would be this most recent trip. Oh, Amanda said Guatemala. I was about to talk about Guatemala was and is an awesome trip too. In Costa Rica specifically, when we did the jungle hike, our guide, his name was Diego, and he was just an awesome person, and we got to know so much from him, so much about him, and he really was what made the experience. It wasn't necessarily the actual hike, even though that was incredible too, but he just had such a great attitude and had so much knowledge, local knowledge about the wildlife that it was like, wow, if I come back, I definitely want to do this with him again. You were going to say Guatemala though?
Yeah.
I was. As far as a people trip goes, we went to Guatemala last year. We're going again this year. And that's also one of my favorite trips. Great place for sailfish and yellowfin tuna and all those offshore species. But the people there they just care so much, down to for breakfast, your little cantaloupe was cut out like a sailfish. Like they literally like carved, and as they're serving your food, they're like so excited to give it to you. It was just such a unique experience, and I would definitely say the people are what really make the trip.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for stopping by the booth here at iCAST. Really looking forward to seeing all the great content that you put out on Waypoint and your other channels. Tell the people where they can find you if they want to watch the Gale Force Twins.
Yeah, so we're on our long format episodes, YouTube, Facebook, and Waypoint TV. And waypointtv.com, we're a digital show right now, so that's waypointtv.com. It's /Gale-Force-Twins. And other than that, I would say we're on TikTok and Instagram. And I would say our main hub, though, is if you really want to just get notified about everything, every platform is our email subscribing list. So that's galeforcefishing.com /subscribe. And we'll just send out an email when a new episode goes live, or when a new rod comes out, or basically that's kind of the place that, like, if you just really want to know about everything that's going on.
Yeah, you guys have rods, a bunch of merchandise, anything else that they might be interested in?
Gale Force gear, I mean, you kind of got it covered. Rods, t-shirts, performance shirts too, hats, face shields, all that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much,
Yeah,
guys,
thank
for
you for
stopping by
having
the
us.
booth. It's always good speaking with you.
You too.